welcome back to the LinkedIn Logs. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the premier business podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com, as well as my portfolio, baby. Like I just said, my name is Chad. This is the LinkedIn Logs, and I was reading a message on LinkedIn. That's what the use of this is for, right? Hi, welcome back. Episode 13, I believe. Yes, looking at the file name. And boy, have we got a doozy for you today. I'm going to start the timer. Hold on. I have to do this and I can't talk while I'm doing it. Boy, howdy. Things are happening all over the business sphere. We got Bed Bath & Beyond going under for the second time. I believe this is the second time. If you don't know, Bed Bath & Beyond filed for bankruptcy this week. Bed Bath is leaking over there at Bed Bath & Beyond. They sell water beds because we got a huge leak. They've made a bankruptcy filing. They have apparently made an $11.8 billion mistake. Oh my God. It's spent that much since 2004 to buy back its own shares. I've never heard of that. That is insane. That is so very crazy that happened. Sorry, there's a lot of phone buzzing going on over here, for a good reason. A lot of personal stuff happening. Bed Bath & Beyond. I shouldn't laugh because it's not very funny, or funny at all, really. Anyway, let's see. Bed Bath & Beyond grew. Hold on, I should put that down. I don't want anybody to read my text. Anyway, Bed Bath & Beyond grew particularly active share repurchases back in July 2014, taking on $2 billion in debt to finance share buybacks. As it started to face pressure from activist shareholders to improve the stock's performance. I guess that's kind of a better way to fight back against a downturn in the stock market when it comes to, if you buy your share backs, maybe that's kind of like going private in a way that, going private, you don't have to report fiscal earnings and everything, and then you can show investors, you can just basically tell investors, hey, we're doing well, versus if you're public, you got to show everybody everything, and it's just unfortunate to see that happening. The stock plunged 83% last year and another 88% so far this year. I know I took my money out of Best Buy. I went to Best Buy and I took my money out. I said, no more Best Buy for me. Okay, that's what happened. I didn't even think I was going to talk about that because I didn't think I wanted to. What's been going on with me? Well, you know what? Hold on. I will say this. So I've applied to comfortably 7 million jobs. That's not exaggeration. That's not hyperbole. I've applied to 7 million jobs, and I finally got one interview. Hold on. Let me do this. I'm responding to the message that I meant to respond to when I pulled this up. Let's see. Okay. Wonderful. All right. Okay. Anyway, what happened? I applied to a job. I had an interview, and it's for, is it gauche to talk about the company it's for? It's for a company I worked for previously. There's 4 of those, so let's see which one. For significantly less money than I had. Anyway, and it is a role in television still. Quite frankly, talk to this person. The person who interviewed me is the same person that interviewed me for a similar job back in September. Not the same job, but for a similar job. And I was hesitant to even. Just kidding. I wasn't hesitant. I said, yeah, dude, let's do it. I tried to do it yesterday. He emailed me yesterday, and he's like, when can you do it? And I was like, how about, today at 3? And he was like, no, it's not going to happen. Tomorrow 11? Or he said next week, and I was like, no, I was for 11. Anyway, and I want, and so anyway, we did the interview. It was good, and he remembered. He brought it up. He's like, actually, we talked in September. I was like, yeah, we did. You're correct. I remember that name and everything. We had the same dance in September as well, where I scheduled it. He sent out it's a Calendarly. He sent out the Calendarly, and that same day I was like, let's talk later this afternoon, and he was like, hey, can we do it next week? That same thing. I don't know if you heard the Google chime, but the Google did chime. And we had that same dance, and then he was like, oh, okay, well, and then when we chatted, it was not a similar conversation. He goes along the lines of, hey, we've I remember our conversation. We talked about, I guess he was looking at his notes, obviously, but he was like, we talked about this and this. We talked about the business. I was going to say the name of the company, but I did not. And then it is a company I've badmouthed before. And I didn't badmouth them. I just talked about the things. So it's not Warner, obviously, because if it was, I'd definitely be saying something. But hold on. I think I might have to pause. I'm getting a phone call. And I know that number. It's a number I talked to earlier this week. And it's about something else. Anyway, we talked about I didn't pause, obviously. But we talked about the things that the job would entail and such. And it is it's an opportunity, and baby, I will take it. I'll take any opportunity, not any opportunity. I'll take most opportunities that I have access to at this point. So yeah, anyway, there we go. It was a good interview. This is for all future employers. I will not badmouth you because I don't do that. I will. I don't badmouth. I'm just saying. Look, here's the thing. If I went to a Target one day. If I went to let me mention a bad Target. If I went to a Target in North Druid Hills, I believe that one is the one I don't like. Or if I went to the one in Buckhead. If I went to the Target in Buckhead, Atlanta, Georgia, it's the 2-level Target, and the escalators are always broken, and the food is up top. And if I went to that Target and the escalators were broken, and some staff was rude to me, and there was crap all over the ground. I was going to cover there's crap all over the ground. Then I would go, okay, well, I would, and if I was going to write a review, I'd be like, okay, this Target needs some repair. It's in dismay and things and left and right and all that stuff. I would probably still give it 3 stars, and I would, if that was my Target, I would most likely go back there. The thing is, I would never go to Bucket, but the thing is, leave a voicemail. Don't just call me. The thing is, if you give me a phone call and I don't pick up, I'm either A, screening the call, or B, about to just unable to. Let me see if this is the exact same person I'm thinking about. I'm gonna do this live on air. Okay, I had that phone call on Tuesday. Oh, it's a similar number. It's not. Is that spam? It shouldn't be. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah. Anyway, I don't know what I was talking about. I'm excited. Just please, someone hire me. I'm gonna go crazy here. If I have to go back to retail, I'm gonna go even more crazy. I also tried to. Never mind. That's not the show. I was going to mention trying to buy tickets for YouTube, but in Las Vegas, I have no money, but I tried, and that's the end of that. And I'll talk about that on Constitutional. Now let's get to this. I actually have a bunch of stories I'd like to talk about. Let me close my email just in case it pops up my email, and let me turn on the window capture. We do things on the fly here. This is what we do. We're Americans. All right, this story comes from CNN, and I promise, if you listen to the Constitutionals, which is the podcast with the most listens out of all 3 that I do, then you'll know that I do stories for that, and I never bring up the web page because we don't need to do that. And I never, and that's usually a story based, whereas this one should be more job based. However, this does, the two things are intersecting here because it is important for stories are important. It's for me to talk off the top of my head about whatever freaking jobs I'm applying to, or whatever jobs I've done before. This comes from CNN Business, written by Brian Mina, and I always mention the writer because writers are important, and we're seeing Waypoint and Vice News Tonight, rather, those be canceled by Vice because they just don't have any money, and BuzzFeed News be canceled by BuzzFeed because it's just not a business that is able to run. And I think it's important that we talk about the writers and because they're the ones who give us these stories. Anyway, so that's why I mentioned the writer. If you ever wonder why I always talk about the writer, I mention their name in the byline, or I mention their byline, then whatever. Okay, Americans are getting worried about the job market, written by Brian Mina. We are seeing recession-like numbers when it comes to grocery shopping and things of that nature, and the U.S. consumers, the consumer index is measures the attitude towards the economy and job market, and people are being laid off, they're losing jobs, their money's being tightened because of this kind of recession-ish market, and we're seeing people be kind of more conservative. I'm not talking about left and right, but be more conservative about their money, and the job market is just pointing towards a little bit of a downturn. The business groups measure, which is the Conference Board's Consumer Confidence Index, measure of economic expectations, fell in April and has remained below a threshold associated with the recession within the next year for every month since February 2022, with the exception of an uptick in December. Consumer attitudes have held steady since the turbulence in the banking industry last month, but high inflation and economic uncertainty have continued to weigh on consumers. If we have the jobs numbers are not gaining, they're not growing. Like in March, we had 236,000 jobs, that which is not a good amount of jobs, and people reporting that they are still first-time signups for unemployment. Those are numbers that are kept up with, and if those numbers are up, and if the jobs are kind of going flat, then it really points to a market where people just lack the confidence. April survey showed that worries about the economy slipping into a recession persisted last month. I think mostly because those worries are coming, not mostly, but a lot of the times because of how when you watch the news, you hear the words recession and like is on the way, and you're like, of course, obvious. Oh my God. Why did I click away? I knew I gotta blur something at 12. Okay, just at 12. Jeez. I clicked on my messages because I saw something, because I thought I could respond in the middle of me talking, but I can't. And it was very, very just whatever. I'll handle it. And then over here on CNBC Make It, written by Sophie Kitterlin, Goldman Sachs says generative AI could impact 300 million jobs, and here's the most important ones. Now, one of the biggest issues is that we are having. I'm reading this second story on Trending Now. It says, I answered a Craigslist ad offering $25 an hour to help a woman find, quote, intelligent, well-educated men. Oh, Jesus. Anyway, I'm not going to comment on that. But now one of the worries about jobs now is that AI could, especially something very repetitive, is that AI and even like I'll expand that out to robotics could take over just simple jobs and do them, quote unquote, better than what humans could do. Now we have stuff as small as blog writing, article writing, which we've seen on CNET, which in the past year, I believe they got in trouble they said they were going to stop doing AI generated articles, and that they labeled as just CNET staff, and they ended up having to lay people off because I mean, I don't know how those two things correlate, but they announced that they weren't going to do it anymore, and then suddenly they just had to lay people off. And CNET is owned by CBS, which is owned by Paramount. Anyway, and so jobs as, you know, insular as I wouldn't say insular, but jobs as writing an article. I'm trying not to put this in a way, but let's just say simple. Jobs as simple as writing an article, and I don't mean that in an offensive term. Like writing is easy, because it is not. Because I do it. It is hard. But article writing can be very simple, and like that's not being replaced. That's not currently, but it is actively at some points, at some measures in life, being replaced by AI and something like truck driving. You know, they're trying to turn that into autonomous work as well. Something as complicated as truck driving, rather. And it's and people are getting worried about their jobs, and that's why when it comes to things like this upcoming possible Hollywood writer strike, we have one of the big things is, and just in Hollywood in general, one of the big things is studios don't, or rather people who write and make things don't want studios to say, get a AI generation thing and or a program and say, write the next Indiana Jones movie. Artists don't want their paintings to be, used as the baseline for whatever ChatGPT or DALL-E do whenever somebody says, hey, make me a pig that's flying through the sky and kissing the Mona Lisa. All right, let's get into this. Certain jobs will be more impacted than others. Jobs that require a lot of physical work are, for example, less likely to be significantly affected. The life, physical, and social sciences sector, we got some numbers. Sorry, I was scrolling down. I scrolled too fast. In the U.S., office and administrative support jobs have the highest proportion of tasks that can be automated, with 46%, followed by 44% for legal work and 37% for tasks within architecture and engineering. Life, physical, and social sciences, as I mentioned before, follows with 36, and business and financial operations round out the top 5 with 35. On the other end, just 1% of tasks in the building and ground cleanings and maintenance sector are vulnerable to automation. Same thing for installation, maintenance, and repair work, 4%, and construction and extraction is bottom with 6%. The countries most affected would mostly be, it looks like, Hong Kong, Israel, Japan, Sweden, and the U.S. are the top 5 most countries affected. Meanwhile, employees in mainland China, Nigeria, Vietnam, Kenya, and India are least likely to be affected being taken over by AI technology. We have to, there's a certain amount of, I guess, there needs to be some tiptoeing around these conversations of AI. It's wonderful that, I can come on here and type up my cover letters with the help of ChatGPT, but when something is relied upon with the use of robotics, then that I would never want to go to a restaurant and have an AI generated meal, which I'm sure that's already in the works at some point. I'm sure there's some not franchisee, but I'm sure there's like some person out there that's going, I'm going to make a restaurant and everything's going to be generated by ChatGPT, and they're making a menu right now, and the menu is a lot easier. I mean, a lot more intricate than what you're thinking right now, which I'm sure is like you go to ChatGPT and it says, make me a 5-course meal and make it good and make it, I'm able to sell it for $50 or something like that. No, I think it'll be an amalgamation of things. Like if I was a restaurateur and I was going to make a ChatGPT based restaurant pop-up, I would do something along the lines of a different menu every 3 or 4 months, every quarter, essentially. And it would all be themed and tied together. And I would most likely get a recipe, but be iterative on it. I would definitely cook everything ahead of time and say, okay, is this good? It's good. Okay, let me just build upon this. Anyway, that's it. That's what I would do if I was a business person and I had money to start a restaurant. ChatGPT pop up, rather. And I would start simple. I would do like burgers. I would do like a sandwich, burgers, pizza, like a French fry dish, some type of ice cream. Just see if the things work and make a palate. Anyway. All right, and let's continue on. CBS News in Pittsburgh, they have an idea on how to protect yourself and your job from being replaced by AI and automation. Now, apparently, in 2026, Walmart recently announced that it's going to serve 2/3 of its stores with automation and about half of its fulfillment centers by 2026 with automation. Who writes a nifty in an article? I've never seen the word nifty. That seems like a very passive aggressive term. That was really nifty, wasn't it? Oh, you're a real nifty person. How do you protect your job? Make sure it's something that you can definitely. I mean, obviously, we just read in the CNBC Make It article. It's got to be something that is a little bit more physical, something that is that can't be done because it's so multi-leveled, so layered. What would be a good job to like, obviously, like, to be an assistant? I can have Google, if I had a Pixel phone, then Google can answer my phone calls, and it can go, hi, you're using this. The person you are calling is using Google Voice to answer the call. Please tell us what's going on, what you're calling for, and we will relay it back to that person. And then the person on the other line can say, hey, this is so and so looking for blah blah blah, and then I can read that on my phone and I can go, well, I want to talk to that person, and I can lift it up and call back. I also think they're saying robotics is good because of the limitations, because it's a physical thing. I think something like, coding can really help with ChatGPT and AI can help with automation for coding and things. But I think the more that we get into having actual skills, like doing electricity, cooking, doing electricity, electricians, plumbers, just taking care of children, teaching. I couldn't learn from AI. Like, if I signed up for college right now for a master's courses and I had one class with an AI teacher, I don't think I could learn from that. But we have to learn to also work with the technology, because I mean, just shutting it off entirely is going to hinder more than it helps. Unless you're like super famous or you already have a lot of friends, social media kind of, I mean, as much as I don't like it, by and away, it still kind of helps with the aspect of connecting somebody with somebody else or with other people of like minds. If let's take Reddit, for instance. If you like the Xbox Series X console, then you're going to be able to go to reddit.com/r/Xbox Series X and talk about the Xbox lifestyle, I guess. I describe this in the worst possible way. Or if there's a hashtag on Instagram, I'm not going to say Twitter, but if there's a hashtag on Instagram, then you can be a part of the conversation and say, hashtag, mom life, and all the people who click on that hashtag can see you doing whatever it is you do with that hashtag. No automation has, I'm reading the last part of this article. No automation has a human brain, and ideas and invention will never, wait, what? No automation has a human brain, and ideas and invention will never go out of demand. What? What in the world does that say? Chelsea, hold on. Let me start at the beginning. Let me start at the second paragraph. Chelsea says we'll take a pause. Chelsea says if automation is coming to your business, it's a good recommendation to volunteer and ask to be put on list for automation training, which is correct. No automation has a human brain, and ideas and invention will never go out of demand. Okay, so what I think they want there is no automation has a human brain, period. Ideas and innovation will never go out of demand. This looks like it was written by John Shumway, my guy. You got to look over at this. What do you do things over there at KDKA News in Pittsburgh? But we are in this age of having, like, going back to the job market, of having to, of having to expand your horizons. Now, if you are somebody who is, like me, who only has, not only, but who has a very specialized job, then it wouldn't hurt to look at the automation processes that are going on in the world around us. Like if I look at myself, I think it'd be better that, let me turn this off and move this over. I think it's smart for me to not just, yes, I can produce, but also I know how to edit video, and I know how to write, and I know how to what else do producers do? Logistics, manage. I know how to do all that stuff. I mean, and producer. The word producer is a catch-all for everything. But that being said, it is good to be able to go out and have different stuff. Like, because like if it's good to have an IT person who knows Mac and Windows. It's good to have an IT person who can do Android and iOS. A chef who knows how to make dessert as well as make dinner. It's great things. You have to have multiple talents. And as much as I hate, and this is a very true thing, I don't like it when people say they're multi-hyphenates, because that doesn't mean anything. And because we all have different things. Because sometimes I will, I'll watch an interview or read an interview or listen to one. That's how it happens. But I'll listen to something and the interviewer will go, this person is a blah blah and a blah blah and a blah blah and a blah blah, and you're at some point you're just listing things. Like, yeah, we can all do this. It's just whatever you specialize in. Like, Tom Cruise is an actor. Just because he sang with James Corden doesn't mean he's during a primetime special for the Late Late Show's last episode doesn't mean that he's a singer. He's an actor. And yes, he can do other things. Let me pick a woman. Just because, let me think. Oprah. Just because Oprah was a talk show host doesn't mean she is only a talk show host. We could say that she's a producer. Yeah. Or a business person. I was going to say woman, but women can be business people. Anyway, that's all that. As the job market continues to not flourish, yes, it is. I think, again, I just reemphasize this. I just think it's important that especially with AI coming in and other tools similar to it, automation, it's important that people gather, what they can and what they have, and just try to work with the technology for what it is right now. So that if the time does come that it can take over the job, then you can say, hey, I can do it. Just because it could do it faster doesn't mean it does it right. Anyway, that's all I got to say for that. Listen, if you liked what you heard here, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, and my portfolio website, because this is LinkedIn Logs, chadcwhite.com, where you can see me talk with famous people. Oh, so many famous people. Who did I just talk with? Luke Moniz. He's a great comedian, doing wonderful things. Just put out his first album. I talked to Kurt Fuller. You've seen him. Google Kurt Fuller, Kurt with a K. You'll be like, oh my God, I've seen him on television. Lyric Lewis, you've seen her. Jenny Zagrino, India de Beaufort, Stephanie Weir. You've seen these people. Or at least heard them. Megan Anram. You've seen her name before. You watch The Simpsons. You watch The Good Place. Adam Devine. You watch Righteous Gemstones. Isn't it romantic? Workaholics. All right, I'll stop naming people. cpluscomedy.com. ChadCWhite.com. If you want to see the video version of this podcast. Excuse me, hold on. I have other podcasts. I've got Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show, which is a late night show podcast where I talk about late night because I love it so much. I think it's one of my favorite genres. I think it probably is. I better be still doing this. And The Constitutionals, which is the premier podcast. Entertainment business news. Entertainment business news. This is just business news. That's entertainment business news. As well as interviews, video interviews with those comedians. I was supposed to have a couple of interviews with some comedians from an MTV show, but their people did not get back to me. That's very true. Don't ask me. Don't be like, don't be like, well, no one listens to the show. I can say it. Don't offer me comfortably 10 to 11, 12 people and then say, and then go, what do you need? And then I go, this is what I need. I need a specific amount of time and I need video. Will a phone call work? No. I need this specific amount of time in this video. Okay, well, here's who you can have. Great. When I'm free, bam, bam, bam. No response. I didn't even know that show existed, but it's stacked with people who, a lot of people I had to Google. But when I saw how many Instagram followers they had, I was like, okay, all right, I might have to do this one. Anyway, I tried. I'm not going to quote Macy Gray because apparently she's insane. If you want to see video versions of these shows, youtube.com/C+comedy, as well as you can watch our premiere show News Time, which is like The Daily Show except way less funny. Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, @C+comedy. Me on those platforms, @ChadBlackWhite. Rate, review, subscribe. Tell your friend. God, I have got to learn to start playing things as soon as I start the ending thing, the outro, because this is insane. All right. Anyway, thank you for listening. I appreciate you. That's funny because I said that at the end of the interview I just had. It was like, I said to the guy from the company, I was like, I appreciate you. All right. Bye.